Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtakyare Satarine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtakyare Satarine
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Graya Shri Vasati Gaur Bhaktarinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktarinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai,
Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai.
Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada,
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada.
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutanishvara Bhaktivinoda Swami Namaste Saraswati Devam Guruvani Pachani Shri Krishna Namaskar.
I don't think Sri Krishna Prabhu knows it here. I just informed him that we are here.
You tell him or you told him?
I didn't tell him, so I don't think that...
Just mention it, he don't push. Maybe he has other things to do. You know, it's okay. Don't just mention it, just in case.
Because he wanted to join in. He wanted to get ready.
Okay, just mention it. So actually I just intended to continue a little bit on that what we spoke today during the day
Jai.
in context of Srila Prabhupada. Just to demonstrate what Srila Prabhupada was up to. We have to ventilate. Completely choking. For us, even until today, it's very difficult to imagine the vision of Srila Prabhupada, what he envisioned when he, came out of the Jalatuta ship, and he was first time in his life practically encountering Western civilization. Now, Prabhupada was not blind, there was newspaper, he saw pictures from the West. But in India, usually, at that time specifically, the media coverage wasn't so strong, so the picture was also very heavily manipulated by the British. So West was pictured as some kind of dreamland, where everything is fine and whatever, and we can live without God, and things like that. So when Prabhupada first time entered this, you can imagine when he entered that harbor, and then he started to see things. Like example, he was driven with a car on a highway, and in America they have this advertisement on a highway. So Prabhupada's mind was so strongly connected to Vrindavan. When they passed by a big sign, advertisement for gumi tires, Michelin. Prabhupada immediately connected to Michelin, Chintamani. Somehow he connected these two words. He said, oh, Chintamani, they are advertising Chintamani. Because his vision was still so, and it happens when you go to India for a longer time. Your senses and your mind become so tuned with this devotional impressions that, you associate things in a more devotional way. So you start to behave a little bit differently, you walk differently usually. And when you come to the West, it starts to color you back, to this, first of all, extremely impersonal way of dealing with each other. This kind of silence which dominates the streets, where everybody is, raised level by lust. You can say when somebody is lusty, he's very talkative. But that's actually, that's one way to be lusty, but it's a very actually external way, The real lust, when the real lust comes, people become very silent and very focused. Just to satisfy the sex, usually when people really get down to the things and they become lusty, they become very silent, extremely selfish. That's the atmosphere which is dominating this place. Silence, everybody pursuing his own sense gratification, constantly thinking the most sinful thing, because they think nobody sees what I think. Nobody is concerned to purify his thoughts, because they think nobody sees that. So what? But it is visible. People feel each other consciousness all the time. But nobody is educating them to do something about it. As long as I don't punch somebody in the nose, I'm fine. As long as I don't rape somebody, I'm fine. But all this punching and raping goes in the mind all the time. And nobody addresses that problem, because they concluded one can do not much about it. Yeah, if he killed somebody or it's manifest externally, you should go to a psychiatrist, and then he will just say something about your mind. They have no really program how to purify the consciousness. It's too subtle for them. So Prabhupada encountered that kind of atmosphere, and I can imagine what impression it made upon him. Seeing people, especially the hippies, having sex life in free daylight, just like that. In Vedic culture, even holding hands or kissing is completely out of question, in public places, and even privately, it's a very heavily regulated thing. Men and women lived actually in separate quarters. Prabhupada said, I'm coming from a balcony culture. But the women are always on the balcony and the men are in a courtyard. That's actually a Vedic household. The women, they have completely their own quarters, And for public functions, even then they don't mingle with the men, they just come on the balcony, you know, yeah. I was in Rome in temple, they had a big fancy bungalow rented as a temple. It was quite a big place. And there was actually in Italian way there was a balcony, you know, yeah, and then there was like a hall. That was a temple room. So all the Matajis were on a balcony, you know. Prabhupada liked that. He said, this is our culture. It is on a balcony, or during the public processions, they are in the windows, in the buildings. They are always in an elevated position, but in the buildings, whereby the men are just, you know, doing their thing on the street. So this is too subtle for Vedic culture. It's just like, you certainly don't find such a mode of behavior in Roskilde or something during the Rock and Roll Festival. I remember it's very popular during that the man is standing there in front of the stage, and because there are so many people, the girl is sitting around his neck. It's like a popular image, you know, yeah. And they do anything anytime. So this is this so-called culture Prabhupada encountered. It is already all predicted in Bhagavatam. I can read. It's fascinating when you read this few shlokas from Bhagavatam. You will find this is news. It's like tonight news. You know, Kali Yuga is today. It happened today. Just listen to this. Shukadeva Goswami said, "Then, O king, religion, truthfulness, cleanliness, tolerance, mercy, duration of life, physical strength and memory will all diminish day by day because of the powerful influence of the age of Kali. In Kali Yuga, wealth alone will be considered a sign of a man's good birth, proper behavior and fine qualities. And law and justice will be applied only on the basis of one's power. Man and woman will live together merely because of superficial attraction. And success in business will depend on deceit. Womanliness and manliness will be judged according to one's expertise in sex. And a man will be known as a Brahmana just by his wearing a thread. A person's spiritual position will be ascertained merely according to external symbols. And on the same basis, people will change from one spiritual order to the next. That means, you know, spiritual order. That means brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi, grihastha, you know, grihastha, vanachari, you know, sannyasi, you know, vanachari. It's all so mixed up that at the end you don't know who is who. You know, at the end you have a married sannyasis, you know, and unmarried grihasthas, you know, it's all happening. A person's propriety will be seriously questioned if he doesn't earn a good living. And one who is very clever at juggling words will be considered a learned scholar. It's a warning for rapping people. A person will be judged unholy if he does not have money, and hypocrisy will be accepted as a virtue. Marriage will be arranged simply by verbal agreement, and a person will think he is fit to appear in public if he has merely taken a bath. A sacred place will be taken to consist of no more than a reservoir of water located at a distance, and beauty will be sought to depend on one's hairstyle. Filling the belly will become the goal of life, and one who is audacious will be accepted as a truthful. He who can maintain a family will be regarded as an expert man.
Audacious?
What is the audacious exactly? Somebody knows? I think,
Prudent, no? Like,
huh?
like prudent.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
shameless. More coming close to shameless.
Oh, yeah.
Just bold. He just said it. That's the truth.
He says something.
And people go, oh yeah, that's the truth. Look how he smacked the fist on the table.
Yeah.
You know? He who can maintain ephemeral will be regarded as an expert man, and the principles of religion will be only observed for the sake of reputation. As the earth will be crowded with a corrupt population, whoever amongst any of the social classes shows himself to be strongest will gain the political power. Losing their wives and properties, so such avaricious and merciless rulers who will behave no better than ordinary thieves, the citizens will flee to the mountains and forests. Harassed by famine and excessive taxes, people will resort to eating leaves, roots, flesh, wild honey, fruits, flowers and seeds.
Seeds?
Struck by drought, they will become completely ruined.
What's drought again?
Drought. Sorry.
Oh,
Completely dry.
no
But they will be compelled to eat seeds.
Yes. Welcome to Denmark.
That's what we're doing here.
The citizens will suffer greatly from cold, heat, wind, rain and snow. They will be further tormented by quarrels, hunger and thirst, disease and severe anxiety. There's a camera there. There's a camera there. Here's a camera there.
Okay, sit there.
Yeah, sorry.
The maximum duration of life for human beings in Kali Yuga will become 50 years. By the time the age of Kali ends, the bodies of all creatures will be greatly reduced in size, and the religious principles of followers of Varnashrama will be ruined. The path of the Vedas will be completely forgotten in human society, and so-called religion will be mostly atheistic. The kings will mostly be thieves. The occupations of men will be stealing, lying, and needless violence, and all the social classes will be reduced to the lowest level of Shudras. Cows will be like goats. Spiritual hermitages will be no different from mundane houses, and family ties will extend no further than the immediate bonds of marriage. Most plants and herbs will be tiny, and all trees will appear like dwarf shami trees. Clouds will be full of lightning, homes will be devoid of piety, and all human beings will have become like asses. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will appear on the earth, acting with the power of pure spiritual goodness. He will rescue the eternal religion. So if you take each single point, there's partially wrong purpose to this by Hridayanda Maharaj. You can see that actually, very accurate. Each single word, each single point you take. It's already going on. Srila Prabhupada actually once mentioned, he was even said, surprising how Kali Yuga is progressing. We are at the beginning, but we see all the symptoms which are predicted for the end. Especially by hearing that in New York there is a restaurant where they actually, of course, discreetly and secretly serve as a special delicatessen human embryos. And Prabhupada heard that, and he was like, that's exactly what Kali Yuga will be. As a matter of fact, he said, people will just conceive children to have a good meal. So this is like, there's no limits. We think sometimes this is degraded. Oh, it's just the beginning. So just imagine when Prabhupada arrived with this kind of message. And he started to preach to the lowest of the lowest hippies who were doing all these things in bright daylight. Yeah. So, what a challenge we cannot even imagine Prabhupada had to face, and what an achievement to change the heart of such a person. We see it daily in preaching, when you preach, that how hard it is to change somebody's desire, because actually the real problem is with the desire. People can even talk nicely, great, that's Kali Yuga, juggling words, accumulating words, but completely ignoring the level of desire. So the desire, to purify the desire, to change that desire from I want this to I want that, that's the real thing what Prabhupada did by his personal example. Actually, there was nothing else for these new devotees to be oriented from as Prabhupada's personal image. It was just the image. They couldn't even understand what he's talking about. But just his way of dealing things, his way how he was lifting up a cup, how he was drinking water, how he demonstrated what is acceptable and not acceptable. When he first time visited Mukunda's flat, Mukunda, future Mukunda's Swami, was there with his wife, and they had as decoration a poster on a wall they brought from Spain, or some get from Spain, this torero just piercing the bull, the bull bleeding and the bull attacking the torero, and they have big colorful poster in Spain. I was there, I saw it. I was even taking part in this, in a bullfight, which is actually by now forbidden in Spain. Finally, they made it. But it was a part of a tourist. I was not going on my own. It was just part of a tourist excursion. They took us to this place. And it was ghastly, it was just ridiculous. I found it completely disgusting, and but I didn't know anything about Krishna consciousness at that time. So when Prabhupada saw this poster, his eyes opened and said, "What is this?" And immediately Mukunda understood, Swamiji doesn't like it. This looks ridiculous. He didn't sweat like this until then. Every day he looked at the poster, it was to him completely normal. But when Prabhupada saw this, instantly devotees started to see the world through Prabhupada's eyes. And that was a completely different view. Yamuna's cat came around the corner, Janaki's cat came around the corner, and she jumped on Prabhupada's lap. Prabhupada instantly was going, "Dah!" As he hit the cat was just flying across the room. Don't imitate that. It was not exactly a good preaching tactic. Prabhupada was so spontaneous. So actually, the lady was quite agitated. The Swamiji hit my cat, So, but nevertheless, Prabhupada was so personally, attentive, it was just fascinating, that personality which enters your life, and is why he is carrying something huge. They knew he has something big to say, and he has some mission. They didn't already understand what that mission is, but he has something. He came here to do something very big and important. Prabhupada emanated that image, but they couldn't identify it because they couldn't understand one thing. And simultaneously, Prabhupada could maintain such attention to detail. He could just be very comforting and very, personally attentive what you are doing, and he always had this, this incredible genius gift to connect things to Krishna somehow, always, Yeah. He saw people surfing on the ocean. He said, "What is this? What are they doing?" From devotee point of view, young men standing on a piece of wood and gliding down the waves. It's just bizarre. And the devotee said, "No, Prabhupada, it's called surfing. This is surfers." And Prabhupada immediately caught up on this and said, "Oh, surfers? Oh, that's the sufferers. The sufferers are here." Surfers became sufferers. When he saw bikes passing by, you can hear it on the recording when the morning walks, Prabhupada said, "This sound, this is, actually they become mosquitoes in the next lifetime. Mosquitoes also do like this. Prabhupada said, they become mosquitoes in the next lifetime. And when he passed by a discotheque, and there was a sound coming from below the earth, this, and this beat, Prabhupada said, this is the sound which is very attractive to Yamaraj and to Yamatutas. It's actually so tamasic, it invites, please come and take me. He said, the sound's just coming out of the disco. Especially the 70s, 80s disco, it was this kind of this dance, So Prabhupada could connect it. There's actually photos of Prabhupada I saw recently. Prabhupada going on a beach, and suddenly you can see he stopped and he opens the eyes, and he could say things like, now they are here. Nobody knew who they are and what he meant. And it was so, you could call it mystical, the devotees didn't even dare to ask more. Because Prabhupada could see subtle beings. He could see, this is actually a gift which is given to devotees. The more you advance in Krishna consciousness, the more you can see. And it's not just seeing, what you read, but really seeing. In other words, Krishna consciousness becomes more natural. Your sight becomes more purified. Prabhupada saw a lady in a miniskirt, a reporter, and he said, no. And when she asked this typical question, why you have no hair? Why are bald-headed? Prabhupada said, we like to keep the head cool, therefore we cut the hair. Some people like to keep the legs cool, therefore they are carrying, these exposed legs. I mean, if she's saying the conclusion, the lady immediately understood what he's saying, and she was just laughing, with her miniskirt. And Prabhupada, actually, this vision was just, it was humorous, had a deeper meaning, but he simultaneously he showed that your brain is in the legs. You have no brain, first of all. You just have a big exposed legs, that's all. No brain. And second of all, the vision was more like, of course, if you want to keep your legs cool, then you expose the legs. No? If you want to keep the brain cool, you expose the head. Such a vision. Prabhupada had also a sense of humor, which was very difficult to understand sometimes. Bengali humor. He told the story of a man who was known in Calcutta. On hearing, he could identify each single car passing by in the street without seeing it. So his friends were mocking him. They got a donkey, with a carriage behind, and they tied lots of cans behind. And when the donkey was running on the street, the cans were rumbling around on the street. And they told the man, "You hear this sound? You hear this sound? What kind of car is this?" There was this can rumbling, and he was going, Rolls Royce. And the friends were laughing, and Prabhupada was laughing, and the devotees were like, okay. It was not that funny, Prabhupada could just laugh. And, it dawned upon me throughout the years that the Bengali humor, whatever little glimpse I got, it's very similar like to Czech humor. It's of course much more pious, it's religiously motivated, but it's very deep actually. They can be very, very double-sided. They can indicate things. They tell you some simple joke, but actually what they want to tell you are completely stupid. And they know how to package it. I heard Bengali language is quite fine, to do this kind of indication, these funny things. The Prabhupada was, like he said, there is no spiritual life without humor, because the original humorous thing comes from Krishna, who actually, when he makes a joke, then it's such a genius joke that the saints, the sages are discussing the joke for thousands of years, and they find always another dimension to it, another angle from the joke, And Krishna just made a joke, He's making many jokes probably, so he just made a joke. And that's enough to think about it and meditate for thousands of years. But if we make a joke, then usually it's just the lowest type of comedy is the slapstick comedy. It's called that, you go and slip on a banana and fall on usually you suffer, then people laugh about your misery. Mr. Charles Chaplin was an expert on this. This is how he became famous. He was just always falling from something or making somebody to fall down